Hey, welcome to another Glenwood Families service. We're carrying on this week with our new theme, all about how Jesus is awesome. And this week we're going to be discovering another reason why Jesus is awesome. But first, can you remember what we learned about Jesus last week? The thing we learned about Jesus last week that makes him awesome. The story was all about him turning loads of water into loads of wine. And we thought that Jesus is generous. That's right. He wants to give us wonderful things and lots of them. So I'm going to hand over to some friends now, both to tell us what we're learning about Jesus this week and then also for our story. Enjoy!
Jesus is the expert.
Good evening and welcome to Glenwood's Lockdown News. I am Michael Dunbrain and here is today's headlines. COVID lockdown in more areas. Politicians continue to talk so much and say so little. A tree falls down in the forest but there was no one there to hear it. But first, breaking news just come in. We head live now to our reporter Lily Laughalot.
Hello, I am here live at Water's Edge to bring you a fantastic story. I am here with Peter, a local fisherman. Peter, can you tell us what happened?
Yes, I can, you see. I was out on the boat, me and my mates fishing, you see, because I be a fisherman and that's what fishermen do.
How long have you been a fisherman?
About 5'5".
No, I mean, for how long have you been fishing?
All my life, my dear. When I was very little, my dad would put me on the end of the line and I would grab the fish straight out of the water.
That's extraordinary, but not as extraordinary as what happened today. Can you tell us?
Like I said, we were out all night fishing. We tried lots of different areas and do you know what we caught?
No, tell me. What did you catch?
Nothing at all, not a sausage, because sausages are not fish. Nothing, well, except for an old shoe and a Tesco shopping trolley and some of those face masks people have been wearing.
And tell us, what happened next?
Well, we'd had enough, so we decided to call it a day and come in. Just as we approached land, there was a huge crowd of people by the water and there was this bloke talking to him. I think it was this Jesus bloke that everyone is talking about. Well, this Jesus bloke got into our boat and asked us to sail a bit so he could talk to the people from the boat.
Is this a normal thing that happens?
No, lass, this is not what normally happens. Fishing boats are for fishing, not for holding meetings. To be honest, I think he might have been a little bit confused, you see.
Then what happened?
Well, he'd finished talking to the people and he turned to me and said, "Where are our fish?" I said, "We have no fish, we've caught nothing all night." Then he said to me, "Why don't we put our nets down by here?" Now, I know he was confused. We'd already fished by there, and it was also daytime, and any fool knows the fish go deep in the day and they're much harder to catch.
So Peter, what did you do?
Well, we had nothing better to do, so we did it. We put down our nets, and do you know what? The moment our nets were in the water, they were full, I tell you, full of fish. Not shopping trolleys, no, they were full of fish, real fish. In fact, we caught so much fish, our boat was starting to sink under the weight, so we had to get Roger in his boat, Tom in his boat, just to help us to get all the fish to shore.
That's remarkable. How much fish did you catch?
Well, I don't know really. I've never really been good at maths, but I tell you this much. We kept half the fish and we gave half the fish to Roger and we gave half the fish to Tom.
Well, thank you, Peter. That's an amazing story. I bet you're the most famous fisherman around these parts. I assume you'll carry on fishing, maybe even teaching other people how to fish.
No, lass. I'm going to give up fishing.
What? Really? Why?
Well, you see, this Jesus bloke, he's the one that somehow enabled us to catch all these fish. Without him, I would be having battered face mask and peas for tea. Again. No, this Jesus said I could join him as he goes around telling people to be good to each other and telling people about God. Jesus said, if I come with him, I will not have to fish for fish anymore, but I can be fishers of men. I'm not sure what sort of bait I'm going to use for catching men, but I'm sure Jesus will tell me.
Well, thank you again, Peter. Now back to the studio.
Thank you, Lily, for that fascinating report. What an incredible story. I guess it just goes to prove that Jesus is the expert when it comes to catching fish, and that Jesus is the expert in so many more things. Well, that is all the news for today. We will leave you with a photo of a dog wearing a hat. I have been Michael Delbrain. Good night.
Hello again, we're back in my kitchen. We're going to do a little bit more science today. So, in today's story, Jesus was the expert when he told the disciples where to put their nets, and they caught that miraculous catch of fish. We're going to do a little bit of fishing for ice cubes. So, over here, I've got a bowl full of water with some ice in it. I've got my fishing line, it's just some string, and I've got some salt. Let's get going. Okay, so I'm going to try and catch these ice cubes on my line. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the end of my line on top of an ice cube, and it's drifting around a bit, and then I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of salt. Come on. There we go. A little bit of salt over the top of it. And if you see, the salt melted the ice. I fished! And I caught ice cubes! And I'm so excited that it worked! I wonder if you could try that at home and go ice fishing. I wonder if you could get more than one. Whoop! Along your string, do a little bit better than I have. That was fun, and it's fun recreating little science experiments that are a little bit like the miracles that Jesus did when he was here. But we know, don't we, only Jesus has the power to perform miracles. But it's quite fun to have a go at some science and to think about the amazing things that he did while we do cool things for ourselves.
Jesus, I love you deep down in my heart. Jesus, I love you deep down in my heart. I'm talking about deep, deep down, down, deep down in my heart. I'm talking about deep, deep down, down, deep down in my heart. Jesus, I need you deep down in my heart. Jesus, I need you deep down in my heart. I'm talking about deep. Down in my heart, talk about deep, down, down, deep down in my heart. Jesus, you free me, deep down in my heart. Jesus, you free me, deep down in my heart. Talk about deep, down, down, deep down in my heart. Talk about deep, down, down, deep down in my heart. Jesus, I praise you, deep down in my heart. Jesus, I praise you deep down in my heart. I'm talking about deep, down, down, deep down in my heart. I'm talking about deep, down, down, deep down in my heart. I'm talking about deep, down, down, deep down in my heart. I'm talking about deep, deep, down, down, deep down in my heart.
Okay, we're going to pray together now. If you remember from last week, we sometimes call this way of doing prayer chat and catch. We're going to talk to Jesus about something, and then we're going to ask him a question and see if we can catch an answer. When we talk to Jesus, we can do that in different ways. We can use our words as we would talk to anybody else, or we can use no words and just speak to Jesus in our heads and in our hearts like that if we want to, and he will hear us. So what we're going to chat about to Jesus today is we're going to tell him about something that we need help with, something that feels difficult to us or we're not sure about at the moment. Okay, are you ready? We're going to do this together. Let's go. Fantastic. I hope you told Jesus all about whatever it is that you need help with. Now we're going to ask Jesus a question and try and catch an answer. And there are loads of different ways that we can catch an answer from Jesus. We might get a thought in our minds. We might get a picture that we see with our eyes or in our imagination. We may feel a feeling, an emotion that we weren't feeling before. We might feel something physical somewhere in our body. We might be led to words from the Bible or from a song about Jesus that we know. It could be in loads of different ways. Jesus speaks to us. We catch things from him in all sorts of different ways. So let's have a try together. If you like, you could get a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen so that if you want to draw or write down anything that you catch, you've got it and you can remember it. So the question we're going to ask Jesus today is a simple one. We're going to ask him, Jesus, what do you want me to know this morning? Okay, so let's ask him that together. Jesus, what is it that you want me to know today? Let's catch together. Okay. If you need a bit more time, press pause and carry on again in a minute when you're ready. I'm not sure if I caught anything from Jesus today. I'm going to have a little bit more of a think about it, and I might talk to my husband John about it and see if he thinks that it's something that came from Jesus. Do you know, when Jesus speaks to us, when we catch from him, it's always something loving and positive that makes us feel better than we did before. And also it always matches with what's in the Bible. We never catch anything from Jesus that says the opposite of what's in the Bible. I hope you caught something today. If not, don't worry. Let's keep trying together and we will get there. Well done, everybody. Well, I certainly hope that you have enjoyed our service today and finding out all about how Jesus is the expert. Huge thank you to Mike and Lily for that wonderful story, and to Gabriel and Eliana as well for helping us out, and they're going to help us again in a little minute. Just a reminder that if you would like to keep thinking about the ways that Jesus is awesome and think about our story today, that miraculous catch of fish, a little bit more, there are some craft activities that you can do. So have a look at the link underneath this video, and then have a look at those resources. And if you do anything, take a picture of it or take a film of yourself explaining it and send them to me, because in a few weeks' time, we're going to have our gallery where everyone is going to show the things that they've made that are going to remind us that Jesus is awesome. Yeah. So the only thing left to do now is to leave you with our question that as a family, after our service finishes, you can carry on chatting about together. So I'm going to hand over to Gabriel and Eliana to hear that. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Be blessed. Bye.
Have you ever asked Jesus for advice?